We're back with some spectating randoms, and the return of Verdansk has been pretty awesome. I think there's been so many positives with it, and I think a lot of people realized just how good Verdansk is as a map. Of course, it has its flaws, but as a map, it's pretty top tier. Again, all the maps have different preferences, but I prefer Verdansk over Al Mazrah, over Urzikstan, over pretty much anything they want to put out. And I think a lot of ways that people prefer Rebirth Island over Vondel, which a lot of people like Vondel, Ashika, Area 99. A lot of people gravitate towards the original, which happened to be really, really good. Same way a lot of people use Shipment, even though it's efficient for camos. Nuketown, even though we've been there, done that, still pretty good opportunity. Now we'd spectate a little bit of the casual mode, which has 24 real players on the map and the rest are bots. I don't know if you guys knew this. This is a good opportunity if your friends are coming back in. You can level up your guns, a little bit more efficient, but the people that we're going to be spectating are going to be real people. So that's what we're going to kind of take a look at. When you kill people in the mode, if they're level 1, not a real person. Anyone else? Probably a real person. And there's not a ton of them, but we'll kind of see what ends up happening, how they play, how they rotate, how they position, and we'll be looking at kind of like what a novice player looks like at the game. A lot of people don't realize how good they are. Even if you're on the lower skilled end and you don't feel like you're super experienced, it doesn't take very much to get out of that newness bubble where you're already an expert in a lot of ways. You don't necessarily appreciate from the outside looking in, and if you're the worst player on your team, sometimes that can skew perspective. I know when I play with some streamers that are like 6 KDs, I'm like, damn, I'm not kind of that good. I queue up with randoms, top fragger. It's like, what the heck is going on? You know, maybe a little bit of SPMM in the mix as well. But overall, I'm enjoying the game. There's a ton of subtle changes in quality of life stuff they did with this update that there's a lot of people not even talking about. We'll kind of see some of those and we'll kind of experience some of those. They're obviously going to change some of the things in this mid-season update to reflect some of the community sentiment that's kind of happened over the years, and they just kind of reverted it back to the beginning, knowing full well that they'd make adaptations, whether it's guaranteeing a plate when you loot somebody or from a chest. There's going to be some of those features in there. You can see one of the things that this person's really doing that is a very big no-no, especially now with floating loot. Their crosshair placement is looking at the ground. A lot of times people do this. I do this myself. Not nearly as bad as this. This is pretty bad. But what will end up happening is they end up looking at the ground pretty low. And then what happens is if somebody ends up on their peripheral, if they're on top of the building, they might not see them. If they're kind of coming around the corner, like we just saw right there, they might get gunned. And then their aim, they have to do the little adjustment. If they under adjust, then they're off target. If they over adjust, then they're off target. Aim assist does help with this a little bit. But in general, that's a negative behavior that you can consciously work on to kind of adjust it. Looks like their recoil control seems decent once they get on target, aim assist, and then they're able to clear that out. A little bit of good teamwork there. I think they're trying to combine cash. I don't know exactly what the deal is. They keep pinging the spot right there. Maybe they want to combine for a loadout. And you can see they're already sitting on 35,000 right at the beginning of the match. It's still first zone. They've only done one contract. It's kind of what I covered in my previous video. I think some people were a little bit like confused on the point of the video because the title, the last little bit of it was a little bit clickbaity. I said they basically changed the way contracts worked to essentially nerf top players. And some people that didn't watch the video, they thought I was complaining about it. Whereas what I was really doing is just gassing up the change and explaining kind of how they've done it, which it caters perfectly to casuals, which I'm a fan of. I like things that are going to benefit casuals. I do think things that benefit like mid-tier players and top-tier players, there's a place for it, but you kind of got to watch, make sure the pendulum doesn't swing too far. And the only time it really ever has swung too far, in my opinion, is maybe at the end of Caldera. And Warzone 2, that was 100% the pendulum swinging the 100% the wrong way towards the uber casual, and even so casualized that the casuals don't want to play it. So that was a whole other problem. But now we're back. Good starting spot, good middle point. Obviously, people are going to have their varying opinions. They need to reload. There it is. See the crosshair placement? We're spectating a different person. They look like they're on keyboard and mouse, though, the way they're whipping their aim. Let's look at the next player. They're in the goosh. I like the lighting in the gulag. The audio is kind of insane. If you stand still, you're going to hear it. Not having plates, you die instantly, which is fine. Oh, the aim, buddy. That was the first guy we spectated. He got slammed. So this is a perfect game mode, especially if you're looking to get your save stuns and get that rare skin. They just buffed it, stealth buffed it. So basically, if you go for getting saves, you're going to get your Cali sticks, all the various rewards, plus you're going to get that bonus operator skin reward, which I'm a fan of any free operator skin that they're going to give out to the community with some minor challenge. Better than paying for it, I'm all for it. I'm not really a fan of huge microtransactions, especially how egregious they are at selling them for 20, 25 bucks a pop. In reality, oh, he's going to die here? What's he going to do? Go for the buyback. There it is. Nice. That should have been a little bit quicker, especially with the dedicated keybind. I don't know if some of you guys are getting used to that. I'm still getting used to the vertical menu. Sometimes I press it one more and I'm like, oh, shoot, I bought a precision instead of a UAV. Vice versa. But other than that, I'm loving it. It's so much faster. You just got to get out of the routine of buying your loadout gun off the rip. Now you got to buy the actual loadout, right? The full loadout. And they're only 10K in a quad. So they cut down the price significantly on that. Kind of back to the original. And they even benefited solo players by reducing that one down to 6K instead of keeping it at 10. So it's in a really good spot. I think there's still people that are on the fence saying the game is back or not. His teammate needs to plate. You can see the teammate with the new widget. Now we can see all that stuff. That's not particularly new. Now everything on there is good. But they had 2 plates and it took them a little while to plate. Heartbeat sensor out in the open field. Your eyeballs will be better than what we're looking at with the heartbeat sensor there. Heartbeat sensor is when you're behind some cover. You're kind of checking an area past a wall, maybe where you have blocked visibility. If you're in a multi-leveled building, various ways like that. Standing out in the open, not particularly going to cut it. WSP9, still a decent gun. A lot of other SMGs are definitely in the meta though. And they gave everyone lots of double XP. So if you had a few favorites, generally for me, when the new gun comes out, it takes me about an hour and 30 minutes to max level it. I usually utilize zombies. But now that this mode's out, it might actually be faster to get the gun. I gotta wait till new guns come out. Do this and then just spam contracts if you're comfortable doing that. Wonder if this team will win. It feels like they're just casually playing around, shooting bodies. Dude's already dead, bro. You don't need to be like that. There's a lot of debate about the one-shot sniping. I'm fine with one-shot sniping. My argument was always make long-range rifles also incredibly good to offset it, right? So that if people want to snipe, they can. If they snipe you, cool. But you feel like you're being overly punished for not sniping if the bullet velocity and recoil is not there. Currently, there's a handful of guns that have the recoil down or the bullet velocity, but there's not hardly any that have all of it, except for the new one like the Kilo and the AMAX generally have good bullet velocity, generally good recoil and range and decent enough TTK. A lot of the other guns, you have to put on a compensator to handle the recoil. And because of that, then you lose out on 20% bullet velocity from the muzzle. You're not able to run specific attachments for bullet velocity instead of recoil. And then that hurts the gun negatively, and you just can't shoot a sniper off of head glitch. It should be balanced in that way where both people feel powerful, and if the other person wins the gunfight, it can be a little frustrating to get beamed from a rifle or sniped with a sniper. But at the end of the day, if both people get to play their playstyle and feel powerful, that's a W. If you remove the ability to snipe, then you're forcing somebody into a playstyle of just using AR, and they're going to be bored with the game because they can't switch between those playstyles. And there's multiple different playstyles beyond that, but realistically, it gives you that alternative. Same thing with the rifles. If you make the rifles trash, you kind of force people into a sniper meta, and if you're not a fan of sniping, I'm generally not, unless I'm going to roll with the full squad. Maybe we're going to camp a rooftop or something like that. Sure, maybe you want to have a little bit of sniping fun, but that's not generally my go-to when it comes to playing a battle royale, even though I know that it's a great play style. So it kind of like forces you to play with the sniper when you don't necessarily want to. So having that balance of both is a nice thing. Do not chow someone at 167 meters with an SMG. just a hint there, Galero or Gallero. Please don't shoot somebody at 165 meters. You're struggling at the 20-meter range, 167 meters, probably not a good idea. 7 more minutes on the gulag. Zone is about to get shown again. This is another thing that they brought back. This was changed in Warzone's life cycle. People were kind of fed up with these style zones where half the zone is off the map. People forgot about this, or if you've barely been playing Warzone for the past year or two, you never knew about these, but this is the way it was before. And they intentionally made adjustments so that the zones are less likely to do that. But also another part of that is then you end up zones which are always kind of in the middle of the map, which end up ending in the same locations. So people got bored with that too. So it's kind of like this battle. I know it's a hard job for the devs to make some of these decisions. They're going to make some stuff. People are going to be upset. People are going to be indifferent, and people are going to be happy. Makes it pretty difficult. Precision's coming in again, bro. I'm all like, why is he going in? It's only gone by once. It's all good. They got one guy to help him out, maybe. House clutching it up over there. Come on, rotate over here, House. Get your boys. He's doesn't look like he's rushing over here. Let's see if we can get his POV. All right, House. Go get your teammates. You got the growl. You're running out of time. They need to be rezzed. Oh.
Gas is closing in.
Holy. I feel like I heard somebody in a bush to the left. The audio's been significantly better. People are asking about that in my settings video. Like, why didn't you fine tune the little audio decibel thing? I'm like, that's not really necessary. If you want to min-max it, distort some of your audio for the sake of hearing a couple extra footsteps, cool, but the game ends up sounding stick drift. Then the game will end up sounding terrible. Holy. Okay, we got this dude. Let's swap. Zone's still mostly alive. Zone 3, 35 teams up. This person's flying with helicopters. I wonder if they're going for safes. There's a safe there against the wall of PD. Like 5 safes at airport. I was doing a lot of safes. I ended up doing 1,600 safes. It was great for XP, by the way. But that's over now because I got the skin. They buffed it. In like my first 5 or 6 safes, I ended up getting the skin. So right here, ideally what you want to do is come from dam, and then you want to rotate down with the zone as the zone moves. You're going to have the high ground here. You're going to be positioned. That's the typical route you'd want to go. Since they had the heli, you could have gone that. Get up here and rotate through here. And then there's a buy station there that could be pretty contested. There's a couple buy stations here within the zone. But now you're kind of in here. Will they take a vehicle to rotate? I don't know. But that is realistically where I would have rotated to, or like to have rotated to. Get everyone set up there. You guys have a decent amount of cash, 50,000. They probably looted some of that contracts. Get everyone with the self-revive. No one has one currently. Get maybe a munitions or armor boxes, because obviously if you can shoot somebody at range, they're all sniping. They're not going to be able to loot the body to pick up the plates if they're getting counter sniped or counter shot at. These are some basic newbie fundamentals that you're probably even looking at and thinking to yourself like, that's like common sense. But yes, there's a lot of new players that come to the game regularly and they don't have those basic intuitive fundamentals. And these guys are probably having a really good time. I mean, they have a decent number of kills. They are rotating across the open zone. Probably in a real match, they'd probably die on this rotation. There'd be people at top. There'd be people at top ATC. But these guys should rotate. Hopefully, they pull the way I was thinking. That buy station, they do have it pinged. They're gonna pick up their full team. They're getting beamed. You better hurry. ATC is going to be outside of the zone, except for the little bit of edge there. Are they going to go up here? This is not good, bro. You can see the whole zone, but if they destroy your helicopter, or you have to jump off, which is inevitable, you're going to get vaporized out of the sky. Okay, they're sniping. I want to see what his POV looks like. All right, the other dude doesn't have any plates. They're all short on plates. The rotation was go to that buy. 50,000 selling right now. Next guy. All right, let's see where they're going. HDR, floor loot. And that's something that happens too with newer players or players that aren't as high skilled or mid skilled, is that the pacing at which they move, everything is super slow because they have to actually think about the different decisions versus instinctively knowing that they need to get to where that ammo is. Going in the middle of the field here, not a good idea. Just the runway, what are we doing? Get up the hill, rotate in. Right here, hold it. We'll see where the next zone's gonna happen. Okay, they're going fully up. They're gonna die. Bro, you're out of the zone. Your teammate died. 3's gonna disconnect. Oh, he made it. Holy, that would have been bad. But yeah, you would have hit up the buy, got fully plated, armor box, munitions. Since you're sniping from a distance, you'd be stocked up, fully loaded. You have enough for a UAV to kind of figure out where the zone's going to be. And then you would also make sure that you have a precision to thirst your downs. Because on the UI, you can see they have none of that. They're going to get this guy. Nice. Got to be careful with the Molotov. They tick super. Molotovs are so good right now. They instantly deal damage. The tick rate is insane. How many ticks they give you. So this guy number 1 is kind of out there by himself. There is a guy that just landed. He's going to go ahead and take them out. Nice. 13 kills. They're fighting it out. Camaro doesn't have any plates. Kind of in a bad spot. They need the teammate to push. Will he get a good snipe here? No, missed. Oh, got one hit. Will he get another one? Ah, he's missing. Nice, got the kill.
Get to the new safe zone.
Okay, blue's rotating. They need plates, but they need their team there. They can die so quick. He'll probably go down here if there's someone semi-decent there. Okay, are they buying plates? Nice, easy kills. Okay, so they're doing everything kind of what I was talking about, but like 6 minutes later into the match.
Check fire.
Okay, you got the cash, bro. Drop some cash for your boys. Or do something with your cash. Clear up the area, something. There is an airplane coming your way. They might not be as comfortable with the loot. We didn't get a notification. They may have gotten a notification. But their teammates need 54K. They still need a plate up. And I know there's people in the comments who be like, oh, I would never sit on the cash like that. I would remember to plate up. We've spectated a lot of people over the years, and there's a lot of those common things that you think are basically common. Good players will make these mistakes too. Not often, but those things do happen. All right, he's flying in up the top. Too late. Just swatting a sniper. That's a little bit rough. The guy ended up jumping off. You can see he's on the mini map there to the left. He is shooting his own teammates. Bro, red dot on the mini map. Red dot on the mini map. Those are people that think everyone's cheating. Dude's been on your mini map for 45 seconds. There's 2 red dots now. Bro.
New safe zone located.
See, a lot of inexperienced people aren't checking their mini-map that often. Normally, in the times that we've tested it with multiplayer, you check it every 1 to 2 seconds. That's how often you're looking at the mini-map. VR is a little bit different because of the way the pacing and the things you got to look at and be focused on. So generally, it's not nearly that often, but it's probably once every 5 to 7 seconds, I would imagine. Significantly slower than multiplayer, but still very, very much often to figure out what's going on when. There's even a point where what you will do, especially on Rebirth, is mid-gunfight, when you know you're going to land that last shot, you're already checking the mini-map to see the ping that comes out of the player to know where their teammates are. Oh, we can actually hear some voice comms now. What the heck? Yeah, Gair. What the hell? You got the money, dog, by your teammate. Got slugged. That was kind of inevitable, right? This guy only has 1 kill? Oh, the other guy. He had the money. He could have been in a good position. They should have been there, rotated up, and they would have been in a good spot. There it is. Nice. Okay, this is a trio. They're going to die. I don't think you can get out in time. Yeah, you can. Okay, it's a 2v3. Holy. Oh, you're dead. Oh, you guys are wiped. They're sniping. 3v1. Crossbow. Oh, he's going to blow himself up. The craziness on this one. Bro. What? There's no way. Oh, they are crazy. They sent a precision on him, so he's rotating. They've done a few contracts. They didn't get nearly as much money. Unfortunately, their teammate has the 17,000, not alive. Did he get hit? Oh, he got a hit marker. Well, the good thing with this is you can do a little quick peek, shoot, and then leave it alone, right? TTK is fast enough, though. All it takes is 1 snipe, and he's dead, too. Instantly. Holy, what did... Psh, was not expecting the crossbow to come off. So the other one looks like they're rotating up on the left, potentially. He might be dead here. Holy. No plates. Come on, I want to see you clutch it. Get 1 crossbow hit, dog. Stimmed a little early. Holy. Bro! There's no way this guy survives, right? Fight for his life! So obviously that other team played it horribly wrong. For the zone, for the money, for a lot of variables there. They were just a little slow to do everything they needed. Will he clutch it? No, I don't think so. No bullets. GG's, chat. Hopefully you guys are enjoying Verdansk as much as I am. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.